The message came through the Deep Space Communication Array at 0347 hours. Lieutenant Amy Carter was drinking her third cup of coffee when the emergency signal started blinking on her console. She had been working the night shift at Earth's outer Rim station for 2 years, and most of the time nothing happened. Tonight was different. "Commander Morrison, we have an incoming transmission," Amy called out. Her voice echoed through the quiet command center. "It's not from any human ship." Commander Jake Morrison walked over to Amy's station. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. 20 years in the space service had taught him to stay calm when strange things happened, but this was very strange. "Where is it coming from?" Jake asked. Amy checked her screens. "The Kalari system. About 40 light years from here." "I've never heard of them before." Jake frowned. The Kalari system was not on any human star charts. Earth had been exploring space for 50 years, but they had only met 3 other alien species. All of them were friendly traders who kept to themselves. "Can you understand what they're saying?" Jake asked. "The computer is working on it," Amy said. "Give me a minute." She typed commands into her console. The universal translator was good, but it needed time to figure out new languages. After a few minutes, the static cleared. A voice came through the speakers. It sounded scared and desperate. "To any species who can hear this message, we are the Kalari Confederation. We need help. Please, if anyone can hear us, we need help." Jake and Amy looked at each other. They had never heard an alien sound so frightened. "My name is Ambassador Zethara," the voice continued. "Our world is under attack. The Vorthic Empire has sent a fleet to destroy us. We have tried to fight them, but we are not warriors. We are peaceful people. We build and create. We do not destroy." Jake sat down in his chair. This was bigger than anything he had dealt with before. He needed to call Admiral Brooks right away. "The Vorthic fleet will reach our homeworld in 6 days," Zethara said. "We have good shield technology. We can give it to anyone who helps us. Please, we have children here. We have families. We do not want to die." The message ended. Amy looked at Jake with wide eyes. "Commander, what do we do?" she asked. Jake was already reaching for his communication device. "We wake up the Admiral. And we better do it fast." Admiral Lisa Brooks was not happy about being woken up at 4 in the morning. But when Jake told her about the message, she became very serious very quickly. "Play it again," she said. Jake sent the message to her personal screen. Admiral Brooks listened to the whole thing twice. "Have you checked our records for information about these Kalari?" she asked. "Already on it," Jake said. "We have almost nothing. Long-range sensors detected some ships in their system about 10 years ago, but they never tried to contact us. They seem to keep to themselves. And the Vorthic? Even less information. A name appears in a few old reports from traders, but nothing detailed. Apparently, they control a lot of space on the far side of the galaxy." Admiral Brooks was quiet for a long moment. "Jake, I want you to send a message back to this Ambassador Zethara. Tell her we received her call for help. Ask her for more details about the situation." "What kind of details?" "Everything. How many ships are attacking them? What kind of weapons do the Vorthic use? What can the Kalari offer us in return for help? And most importantly, why are the Vorthic attacking them?" Jake nodded. It would take 20 hours for a message to reach the Kalari system, and another 20 hours to get an answer back. Time was running out. The answer came back faster than expected. This time, Ambassador Zethara sounded even more frightened. "Thank you for answering," she said. "I will tell you everything. The Vorthic Empire conquers worlds for their resources. They take what they want and destroy the rest. They have attacked 17 worlds in the last 5 years. No one has been able to stop them. The message included detailed information about the Vorthik fleet, 300 ships of different sizes, energy weapons that could destroy a city in minutes, armor that could stop most attacks. Our world has valuable crystals that they want. Sethara continued, but they do not just take the crystals. They destroy everything else. Every building, every person, every living thing. They say it sends a message to other worlds not to resist them. Jake felt sick to his stomach. These Vorthik were not just conquerors. They were monsters. We can offer you our shield technology, Sarah said. Our shields can stop energy weapons completely. We will give you everything we know about shield technology if you help us. The message ended with a desperate plea. Please, we have done nothing wrong. We have never hurt anyone. We just want to live in peace. If you can help us, please hurry. The Vorthik fleet will be here in 5 days. Admiral Brooks called an emergency meeting. Jake, Amy, and the other senior officers gathered in the main briefing room. Captain Rick Hughes was there too. He commanded the UE's Vengeance, the most powerful ship in the human fleet. We need to make a decision, Admiral Brooks said. These Kalari are asking for our help. They're offering advanced shield technology in return. Captain Hughes looked at the reports. 300 ships is a lot. We only have 40 ships in the entire fleet, and we don't know how good their weapons are. But we have advantages they don't expect, said Maya Rodriguez, the intelligence officer. Most alien species fight in predictable ways. They line up, their ships, and shoot at each other until one side gives up. Humans fight differently. Jake had been thinking about this. Admiral, I think we should help them. Not just because of the shield technology. These Vorthik sound like bullies who attack innocent people. That's not right. Admiral Brooks nodded slowly. I agree, but this is a big decision. If we help the Kalari, we might make enemies of the Vorthik Empire. They might come after Earth next. If we don't help, Captain Hughes said, they'll definitely come after us eventually. Bullies never stop with just one victim. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Admiral Brooks made her decision. We're going to help them. Captain Hughes, prepare the 7th Fleet for immediate departure. We leave in 18 hours. Jake felt both excited and scared. Earth was about to fight its first real war with aliens. He just hoped they were strong enough to win. The shipyard around Earth was busy like never before. Captain Rick Hughes stood on the bridge of the UE's Vengeance and watched 12 human ships getting ready for war. Each ship was being loaded with weapons, supplies, and extra crew members. Everyone knew this would be different from any mission they had done before. Captain Hughes, came a voice from behind him. He turned to see Dr. Karen Bell, the fleet's expert on alien species. She was carrying a large computer pad with information about the Kalari. What can you tell me about our new friends? Rick asked Doctor. Bell showed him pictures of the Kalari. They looked like people made of living crystal. Their bodies were clear and sparkled in the light like diamonds. They had 4 arms and stood about 7 feet tall. They're very different from humans, Dr. Bell explained. Their bodies are made of a crystal-like substance. They're very smart and good at building things, but they're also very fragile. Human punch could probably kill one of them. Rick looked at the pictures. The Kalari looked beautiful, but also very weak. How do they fight wars if they're so fragile? They don't fight wars, Dr. Bell said. They've never had a real war before. They solve problems by talking and trading. The idea of violence is very strange to them. Rick shook his head. No wonder they're so scared of the Vorthik. They have no idea how to fight. Down in the ship's engine room, Chief Engineer Pete Davis was working with his team to make changes to the human weapons. The Kalari had sent them information about Vorthic technology, and it was very different from human technology. The Vorthic use energy shields, Pete explained to his workers. Most aliens use energy weapons, so energy shields work well against them. But humans still use bullets and missiles. His assistant, Amy Wong, looked confused. Why do we still use bullets? Energy weapons are more advanced. Pete smiled. Because bullets work. Energy weapons are fancy, but a piece of metal flying at high speed will go through most energy shields like they're not even there. The Vorthic have never fought anyone who uses kinetic weapons. In another part of the ship, weapons specialist. Sergeant Nina Fox was teaching the crew about Vorthic battle tactics. She had studied every piece of information the Kalari had sent. The Vorthic fight in big groups, Nina explained. They put their biggest ships in front and try to scare their enemies. They expect the other side to line up and fight like it's some kind of formal dance. One of the younger soldiers raised his hand. What if we don't fight like they expect? Nina grinned. Then we win. Humans are good at fighting dirty and doing unexpected things. The Vorthic won't know what hit them. Captain Tony Walsh was in the briefing room of his ship, the UES Retribution. He was looking at star charts and planning the battle. Tony had been in the military for 15 years, and he had never seen anything like this. We're going to be outnumbered 8-1, he said to his officers. In a normal battle, that would be impossible odds. But this won't be a normal battle. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Lisa Park, looked worried. Captain, how can we fight 300 ships with only 12? Tony pointed to the star charts. We don't fight all 300 ships at once. We hit them fast and hard in small groups. We use our ship's speed and maneuverability to avoid their big guns. And we get close enough to board their ships. The room went quiet. Boarding enemy ships was one of the most dangerous things a military unit could do. It meant sending soldiers inside enemy ships to fight hand-to-hand. Sir, said another officer, boarding actions are very risky. Most space battles are fought at long range. Tony nodded. That's exactly why it will work. The Vorthic don't expect anyone to get close to their ships. They've never had to fight boarders before. Meanwhile, Marine Colonel Sam Roberts was training his troops for exactly that kind of fighting. The Marines were practicing fighting in narrow corridors and small rooms, just like the inside of a spaceship. Listen up, Colonel Roberts shouted to his Marines. We're going to be fighting inside alien ships. The corridors will be narrow, the rooms will be small, and the enemy will know the layout better than we do. But we have advantages they don't. The Marines listened carefully. They had all volunteered for this mission, even though they knew it would be dangerous. Humans are good at close combat, Colonel Roberts continued. We're stronger than most aliens, we're faster, and we're meaner. Most aliens have never been in a real fight. They don't know how to deal with violence. We do. One of the Marines, Corporal Julia Grant, raised her hand. Colonel, what if we meet aliens who are bigger and stronger than us? Colonel Roberts smiled. Then we use our brains. Humans are good at thinking fast and adapting to new situations. If we can't overpower the enemy, we'll outthink them. Back on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, Captain Hughes was talking to Admiral Brooks through the communication system. The fleet is ready to depart, Rick reported. All ships are loaded and crews are prepared. Good, Admiral Brooks said. Rick, I want you to understand something. This is not just about helping the Kalari. This is about showing the galaxy what humans are capable of. If we win this battle, other species will know that Earth is not helpless. If we lose, we won't lose, Rick said firmly. The Vorthic may have more ships, but they don't have human determination. Admiral Brooks was quiet for a moment. There's something else. Rick, Intelligence Officer Rodriguez has been analyzing the Vorthic communications that the Kalari intercepted. There are some disturbing patterns. What kind of patterns? The Vorthic don't just conquer worlds. They seem to enjoy causing suffering. They take much longer to defeat a planet than they need to. It's like they're playing with their victims. Rick felt angry. He had seen bullies before, but never on this scale. Admiral, we need to stop these monsters before they hurt anyone else. I agree. But be careful, Rick. Don't let anger make you careless. The Kalari need you to be smart, not just brave. As the human fleet prepared to leave Earth's solar system, the crews were excited and nervous. Most of them had never been in a real space battle before, but they had trained hard, and they believed in their mission. Lieutenant Ben Clark was a fighter pilot assigned to the UES Vengeance. He had been flying for 5 years, but only in training missions and escort duties. Now he was going to fight alien ships. I'm scared, he admitted to his friend, Lieutenant Sarah Miller. Everyone is scared, Sarah said. But we're doing the right thing. The Kalari asked for help, and we're going to help them. Ben nodded. I just hope we're strong enough. Sarah looked out the window at the other human ships. Ben, humans have been fighting for thousands of years. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. We're the descendants of people who never gave up, no matter how bad things got. I think we can handle some alien bullies. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, heading for the Kalari system. They had 4 days to get there before the Vorthic arrived. 4 days to travel 40 light years and prepare for the biggest battle in human history. As the stars streaked past the windows, the human crews worked and planned and prepared. They checked their weapons, studied the battle plans, and tried not to think about how outnumbered they were, but deep in their hearts, they knew they were doing something important. They were not just fighting for the Kalari. They were fighting for the idea that innocent people should not be hurt by bullies. They were fighting for justice. The galaxy was about to learn what humans would do to protect the innocent. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the edge of the Kalari system. Captain Rick Hughes stood on the bridge of the UE's Vengeance and looked at the main screen. What he saw made his blood run cold. The Vorthic fleet was already there. 300 dark ships surrounded the beautiful blue-green world of Theros Prime. The alien ships were huge, much bigger than human ships. They looked like giant metal spears pointed at the planet. My God, whispered Lieutenant Amy Carter, who had been assigned to the Vengeance for this mission. There are so many of them. Captain Hughes activated the communication system. All ships, this is Vengeance. Enemy fleet spotted. Begin attack pattern Alpha. The human ships split into 4 groups, just like they had practiced. Most alien species would keep their ships together in one big formation. But humans had learned to fight in small, fast groups that could attack from different directions. A new voice came through the communication system. It was Ambassador Zethara, speaking from the planet below. Human ships, thank you for coming, she said. Her voice was shaking with fear. The Vorthic have been bombing our cities for 2 hours. They are not trying to conquer us quickly. They are trying to make us suffer. Captain Hughes felt anger building inside him. These Vorthic were not just conquerors. They were sadists who enjoyed hurting innocent people. Ambassador, we're going to help you, Rick said. But I need you to get your people to safety. This is going to be a very dangerous battle. We have underground shelters, Zethara replied. But Captain, please be careful. The Vorthic ships are very powerful. Rick looked at his crew. They were all young and inexperienced, but they were ready to fight. Don't worry about us. We're humans. We're good at fighting. Lieutenant Ben Clark was sitting in his fighter, waiting for orders. He was part of squadron leader Sarah Miller's group. 12 human fighters against 300 alien ships seemed impossible, but Ben was ready. All fighters, this is Miller. Sarah's voice came through the radio. Remember, we're not trying to destroy their big ships. We're trying to confuse them and create openings for our cruisers. Stay fast, stay smart, and stay alive. Ben pushed his fighter forward. The small ship accelerated toward the Vorthic fleet. As he got closer, he could see how massive the alien ships were. Each one was 10 times bigger than his fighter. But size was not everything. Ben's fighter was fast and maneuverable. The Vorthic ships were built for intimidation, not for fighting small. Quick targets. Ben fired his missiles at a Vorthic destroyer. The alien ship's shields absorbed the energy weapons, but the kinetic missiles punched right through. The destroyer's weapon systems exploded in a shower of sparks. Yes, Ben shouted. Their shields don't work against our missiles. All around him, other human fighters were having the same success. The Vorthic ships had never fought kinetic weapons before. Their shields were useless. On the bridge of the UE's Vengeance, Captain Hughes watched the battle with satisfaction. The first part of the plan was working. The human fighters were disabling Vorthic weapons, while the alien ships tried to figure out what was happening. "Captain," said his tactical officer, "the Vorthic are trying to regroup. They're pulling their ships into a defensive formation." Rick smiled. "Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted them to do. When they bunch up, they can't maneuver. Amy, send a message to Captain Walsh. Tell him to begin the boarding operations." Captain Tony Walsh received the message on the UE's Retribution. He had been waiting for this moment. His ship was specially designed for boarding actions. "All Marines, prepare for boarding," Tony announced. "We're going to take a Vorthic ship." The Retribution accelerated toward a Vorthic cruiser. The alien ship was firing energy weapons, but Tony's ship had been equipped with Kalari shield technology. The energy blasts bounced off harmlessly. Colonel Sam Roberts and his Marines were waiting in the boarding pods. These were small, heavily armored capsules that could be fired from one ship to another. It was a dangerous way to travel, but it was the only way to get inside an enemy ship. "Remember," Colonel Roberts told his Marines, "we don't know what the inside of these ships looks like. Stay together, watch each other's backs, and don't trust anything." The boarding pods launched from the Retribution and slammed into the side of the Vorthic cruiser. The pods cut through the alien ship's hull like bullets through paper. Corporal Julia Grant was in the first pod to breach the enemy ship. She kicked open the pod door and stepped into an alien corridor. The walls were covered with strange symbols, and the air smelled like sulfur. "This is Grant," she reported into her radio. "I'm inside the enemy ship. It's darker than expected, and the gravity is heavier than normal." More Marines poured through the breach. They had trained for this, but training was different from the real thing. The alien ship was like a maze of narrow corridors and strange rooms. The first Vorthic soldier they met was 8 feet tall with gray skin and 4 arms. It was carrying an energy weapon that looked like a small cannon. The Vorthic soldier fired at the Marines, but its weapon was designed for long-range fighting. In the narrow corridor, it was almost useless. Corporal Grant shot the alien soldier with her rifle. The bullets went right through its armor. The Vorthic had never faced kinetic weapons before, and their armor was not designed to stop bullets. "Target down," Grant reported. "Their armor doesn't protect against bullets." The Marines moved deeper into the ship. They met more Vorthic soldiers. But the aliens were not good at close combat. They were used to fighting at long range with energy weapons. They had never learned to fight hand to hand. On the planet below, the situation was getting worse. Ambassador Zethara was in an underground bunker with thousands of other Kalari. They could hear the explosions from the Vorthic bombing. "The humans are fighting bravely," one of the Kalari said, but there are so many Vorthic ships. Zethara was monitoring the battle through their communication system. She could see that the human ships were smaller and outnumbered, but they were fighting in ways the Vorthic had never seen before. "The humans are different from other species," she said. "They don't fight the way we expected. They're not afraid to take risks." A young Kalari named Kethan looked at the battle display. "Ambassador, the humans are boarding Vorthic ships." "That's impossible. No one has ever successfully boarded a Vorthic ship." "The humans are doing many impossible things today," Zethara replied. Back in space, Captain Walsh led a team of Marines into the command center of the Vorthic cruiser. The alien crew was confused and frightened. They had never been boarded before. Vorthic Captain was a massive creature with red eyes and sharp teeth. It spoke through a translation device. "You are making a mistake, human," the alien said. "The Vorthic Empire has 300 ships. You have only 12. You cannot win." Captain Walsh looked at the alien captain. "You're right. We can't win a normal battle." "But this isn't a normal battle. This is what happens when you attack innocent people." The Vorthic captain looked confused. "Innocent? The Kalari are weak. The strong take from the weak. This is the way of the universe." "Not anymore," Walsh said. "The humans are here now." The Marines captured the Vorthic cruiser and turned its weapons against the rest of the alien fleet. Other human ships were doing the same thing. The Vorthic had never faced an enemy that used captured ships against them. But the real horror was happening on the planet below. Captain Walsh received a message from a Marine unit that had landed on Theros Prime to help evacuate Kalari civilians. "Captain, this is Sergeant Mike Johnson on the surface. You need to hear this. The Vorthic aren't just bombing military targets. They're targeting schools and hospitals. They're killing children on purpose." Walsh felt sick. "Say again, Sergeant." "Sir, we found a Kalari school. The Vorthic soldiers came here first. They lined up the children and shot them one by one. They wanted the adults to watch. They're not just conquering this world. They're trying to destroy the Kalari spirit." The message went out to all the human ships. The crews heard about the murdered children. The tactical situation became secondary to something much more important. This was not just a battle anymore. This was a war between good and evil. And the humans were very, very angry. Captain Hughes activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, this is Hughes. You've all heard the reports from the surface. The Vorthic are not just soldiers. They're murderers who kill children. Change of plans. We're not just going to defeat them. We're going to make sure they never hurt anyone ever again." The human fleet had come to help the Kalari. Now they were going to do much more than that. They were going to show the galaxy what happened when humans got angry. The news about the murdered children spread through the human fleet like fire. In the medical bay of the UES Vengeance, Dr. Karen Bell was treating wounded Marines when she heard the report. Her hands started shaking with rage. "Those monsters," she whispered. "They killed children." Nearby, Chief Engineer Pete Davis was repairing battle damage when he heard the same news. He stopped working and called his team together. "Boys," he said, his voice cold and angry, "we're going to do something that's never been done before. We're going to turn every ship in this fleet into a weapon." Pete's plan was simple but dangerous. He wanted to rig the reactor cores of the human ships so they could be overloaded on command. If a human ship was about to be destroyed, it could take several Vorthic ships with it. "That's suicide," one of his engineers said. "No," Pete replied. "That's justice. Those aliens think they can murder children and get away with it. They're about to learn what happens when you make humans angry." On the bridge, Captain Hughes received a message from Admiral Brooks back on Earth. The transmission had taken 20 hours to reach the Kaleri system. "Rick, I've been monitoring your battle reports," Admiral Brooks said. "The news about the Vorthik killing civilians has reached Earth. The President has authorized unrestricted warfare. You have permission to use any means necessary to stop them." Hughes nodded grimly. Unrestricted warfare was a human military concept that most alien species would not understand. It meant that all normal rules of combat were suspended. No mercy, no prisoners, no limits. "All ships, this is Hughes," he broadcast to the fleet. "We have authorization for unrestricted warfare. I repeat, unrestricted warfare is authorized. Show them what humans do to child killers." The change in the human fleet was immediate. Ships that had been fighting carefully now attacked with reckless fury. Captain Walsh ordered his boarding teams to take no prisoners. Colonel Roberts. Marines stopped trying to capture enemy ships and started destroying them from the inside. Lieutenant Ben Clark was flying his fighter through a group of Vorthik ships when he saw something that made him see red. On one of the alien ships, there were cages attached to the outside of the hull. Inside the cages were Kaleri children, being used as human shields. "This is Clark," he radioed to his squadron. "The Vorthik are using children as shields. They have them in cages on the outside of their ships." Squadron leader Sarah Miller's voice came back cold and angry. "Not for long. All fighters, target the cage attachment points. We're getting those children out of there." The human fighters swarmed the Vorthik ship. They used precision fire to cut the cages free without hurting the children inside. It was incredibly dangerous flying, but the pilots were too angry to care about the risk. On the surface of Theros Prime, Sergeant Mike Johnson and his Marines were fighting house to house in the capital city. They were trying to rescue Kaleri civilians from Vorthik troops. The Marines found more evidence of Vorthik cruelty. The aliens had been torturing prisoners, not for information, but for entertainment. They had been broadcasting the torture to other parts of the city to break the Kaleri will to resist. "Sergeant," called Corporal Julia Grant, "we found something. The Vorthik have been keeping records of their atrocities. They're proud of what they've been doing." Johnson looked at the alien computer files. The Vorthik had detailed records of every world they had conquered. They had pictures and videos of mass executions, torture sessions, and the deliberate murder of children. "They're not just monsters," Johnson said. "They're monsters who keep trophies." The Marines sent the evidence back to the fleet. When the human crews saw what the Vorthik had been doing on other worlds, their anger turned into something much more dangerous. Cold, calculated fury. Captain Hughes made a decision that would change the course of the battle. He ordered his ship to ram directly into the largest Vorthik vessel, the flagship of their fleet. "Captain," his tactical officer said, "that's suicide. The Vorthik flagship is 10 times our size." "No," Hughes replied. "That's justice. And we're not going to die. We're going to board that ship and capture it." The UE's vengeance accelerated. Toward the Vorthik flagship, the alien ship fired everything it had, but the human ship's shields held. At the last second, Hughes ordered emergency reverse thrusters. The vengeance slammed into the side of the flagship, but did not destroy itself. "All Marines, prepare for boarding," Hughes announced. "We're going to take the command ship." Colonel Roberts led 300 Marines through the breach in the Vorthik flagship. The alien ship was massive, with corridors wide enough for vehicles. But size was not an advantage when fighting humans. The Marines moved through the ship like a force of nature. They had trained for urban combat, and fighting inside a ship was similar to fighting in a city. They used explosives to breach walls, set up defensive positions in key corridors, and coordinated their attacks with military precision. The Vorthik defenders were not prepared for this kind of fighting. They were used to long-range battles between ships, not close-quarters combat inside their own vessel. "These humans are insane," one Vorthic officer said to another. "They're fighting like they don't care if they die." "They don't," the other replied. "They're fighting for something more important than their own lives." Captain Hughes and a team of Marines fought their way to the command center of the Vorthic flagship. The alien bridge was huge, with dozens of crew members operating. Various stations dot at the center of the bridge stood Overlord Krex, the commander of the Vorthic fleet. He was 12 feet tall with black armor and glowing red eyes. He looked like a demon from human nightmares. "You have made a mistake coming here, human," Krex said through a translation device. "I have conquered 40 worlds. I have destroyed billions of lives. Your little fleet cannot stop the Vorthic Empire." Hughes looked at the alien commander. "You're right about one thing. We can't stop your entire empire. But we can stop you, and we can make sure you never hurt another child." Krex laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You think you can defeat me? I am Overlord Krex, the terror of the Outer Rim. I have killed more beings than you can imagine. And that," Hughes said, "is why you're going to die." The battle on the bridge was short but violent. The Vorthic were strong and well-armed, but they had never fought humans in hand-to-hand combat. The Marines moved with coordinated precision, using tactics that the aliens had never seen before. When the smoke cleared, Overlord Krex was dead, and the Vorthic command center was under human control. Hughes activated the flagship's communication system and broadcast to the entire Vorthic fleet. "This is Captain Hughes of the human fleet. Your commander is dead. Your flagship is captured. But I'm not here to offer you surrender terms. I'm here to tell you something important." The transmission went out to all 300 Vorthic ships. "You made one mistake," Hughes continued. "You hurt children. You tortured innocent people. You thought you could do whatever you wanted because you were strong and we were weak. But there's something you don't understand about humans." Hughes paused, looking at the alien crew members, who are now his prisoners. "When you hurt innocent people, especially children, you don't just make us angry. You make us into something much more dangerous. You make us into your worst nightmare." The human fleet was no longer fighting to help the Kaluri. They were fighting to make sure the Vorthic never hurt anyone ever again. "You wanted to show the galaxy what happens when someone resists the Vorthic Empire," Hughes said. "Well, now, the galaxy is going to see what happens when someone makes humans angry." The battle was about to enter its final phase, and the Vorthic were about to learn that there were some lines that should never be crossed. The Battle of Theros Prime lasted 18 hours. When it was over, the Vorthic invasion fleet was completely destroyed. Not a single enemy ship escaped. The humans had achieved something that no species in the galaxy thought was possible. "Captain." Hughes stood on the bridge of the captured Vorthic flagship, looking out at the debris field where 300 alien ships had been. His own fleet had lost 4 ships, but they had saved the Kalari homeworld. Ambassador Zephyra arrived on the flagship with tears of crystal falling from her eyes. The Kalari had never seen anything like what the humans had done. They had expected a rescue mission, but instead they had witnessed the complete destruction of an enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for years. "Captain Hughes," Zethara said, her voice full of wonder, "your people fought like nothing we have ever seen. You were outnumbered 25 to 1, but you did not retreat. You did not surrender. You fought until every enemy ship was destroyed." Hughes nodded. "The Vorthic made a mistake. They hurt innocent people. They killed children. Humans don't forgive that kind of evil." Dr. Corinne Bell was working in the medical bay, treating wounded Marines and helping Kalari refugees. The Crystal people were amazed by human medicine. Dr. Bell was using techniques that could heal injuries the Kalari thought were impossible to fix. "Your species is remarkable," said a Kalari doctor named Veltar. "You fight with incredible violence, but you also heal with incredible compassion. How can you be both warriors and healers?" Dr. Bell looked up from her patient. "Because we fight to protect life, not to destroy it. When innocent people are threatened, we become warriors. When people are hurt, we become healers. It's the same. Motivation." On the planet below, Colonel Roberts and his Marines were helping to rebuild the damaged cities. The Kalari were amazed to see human soldiers working alongside construction crews, carrying materials and clearing debris. Corporal Julia Grant was helping to repair a school that had been damaged in the bombing. Kalari children watched her work with wide, curious eyes. They had never seen aliens who were so strong, but also so gentle. "Why are you helping us rebuild?" asked a young Kalari named Pathara. "You already won the battle. You could leave now." Julia smiled at the child. "Because that's what friends do. They help each other. The Vorthik destroyed your home, so we're going to help you fix it." The news of the human victory spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Other alien species had been monitoring the battle, and they were shocked by what they had seen. On the trade world of Nexus Station, a meeting of galactic ambassadors was taking place. Representative Mordek from the Zephyrian Union stood before the assembly. "Fellow beings," Mordek said, "we have witnessed something unprecedented. The humans, a species we barely knew existed, have completely destroyed a Vorthik invasion fleet. They did not just defeat them, they annihilated them." The assembly was quiet. The Vorthik Empire had been expanding for decades, and no one had been able to stop them. Many species had tried and failed. Ambassador Hel Ron from the Andromedian Collective spoke up. "How is this possible? The Vorthik had 300 ships. The humans had only 12. "According to our observers," Mordek replied, "the humans fight differently from any species we have encountered. They use kinetic weapons instead of energy weapons. They board enemy ships instead of fighting at long range. And most importantly, they do not fight for conquest or resources. They fight for principles." Another ambassador asked, "What kind of principles?" "Justice," Mordek said. "Protection of the innocent." The humans discovered that the Vorthik were killing children, and their entire attitude changed. They fought not just to win, but to make sure such atrocities could never happen again. Back at Theros Prime, Captain Walsh was overseeing the interrogation of captured Vorthik prisoners. The aliens were confused and frightened. They had never been defeated before, and they could not understand what had happened. "Your empire will send more ships," one Vorthik officer said. "When they learn what happened here, they will come with 1,000 ships to destroy your homeworld." Walsh looked at the alien prisoner. "Let them come. We'll be ready. And so will our new allies?" "Allies?" the Vorthik asked. "Every species in the galaxy that's tired of being bullied," Walsh replied. "Every world that wants to live in peace without fear of conquest. The Vorthak Empire has made a lot of enemies over the years. Now those enemies have someone to fight alongside." Admiral Brooks arrived from Earth with reinforcements and supplies. She met with Captain Hughes and the other human commanders to discuss what would happen next. "The President wants to establish a permanent alliance with the Kalari," Admiral Brooks said. "But more importantly, we need to prepare for retaliation. The Vorthik Empire won't let this defeat go unanswered." Hughes nodded. "We've been thinking about that. The Kalari have agreed to share their shield technology with us. Combined with our kinetic weapons, we'll be much stronger than before. And there's something else," added Captain Walsh. "Other species are contacting us. They want to join an alliance against the Vorthik. The Andromedians, the Zephyrians, even some of the smaller independent worlds." Admiral Brooks smiled. So our rescue mission has turned into the foundation of a galactic alliance. Ambassador Zithara had been listening to the conversation. Admiral, there is something you should know. The Kalari have been discussing this among ourselves. We want to offer humanity more than just shield technology. What do you mean? Admiral Brooks asked. We want to offer you friendship, Zethara said. True partnership. The Kalari are builders and creators. Humans are protectors and warriors. Together, we could create something wonderful. Dr. Bell, who had been treating both human and Kalari wounded, had seen the partnership developing naturally. Admiral, I've been working with Kalari doctors. Their medical knowledge combined with our techniques could help billions of people across the galaxy. Chief Engineer Pete Davis had been working with Kalari technicians to repair the damaged ships. Their technology is amazing, he reported. If we combine their energy manipulation with our engineering, we could build ships that are nearly invincible. But the most important development was happening among the ordinary people. Human Marines were teaching Kalari children games from Earth. Kalari artists were creating sculptures that honored the human soldiers who had died, protecting their world. Lieutenant Ben Clark, the fighter pilot, was learning to speak the Kalari language from a young Kalari named Kefan. Your language is beautiful, Ben said. It sounds like music. Your language is powerful, Kethan replied. When your Captain Hughes spoke to the Vorthic fleet, his words had the force of thunder. 3 months after the battle, the Terran Kalari alliance was officially established. But it was more than just a military agreement. It was a partnership between two species that had found they shared the same values. The alliance's first joint project was the construction of a memorial on Theros Prime. It honored both the Kalari who had died in the Vorthic attack and the humans who had died defending them. The memorial included a message in both human and Kalari languages. Here lie those who died protecting the innocent. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten. Their courage will inspire future generations. Never again will evil triumph while good people stand ready to fight. The Battle of Theros Prime became known throughout the galaxy as the day the Vorthic Empire learned fear. But for humans and Kalari, it was remembered as the day two species became friends. Captain Hughes, now promoted to Admiral, stood before the memorial with Ambassador Zithara. Around them, human and Kalari children played together, their laughter echoing across the square. Do you think we've really changed anything? Hughes asked. Zethara looked at the children playing together. Admiral, before you came, the Kalari believed that evil was stronger than good. We thought that bullies always won, because they were willing to be more violent than their victims. And now? Now we know that good people can be just as strong as evil people when they fight for the right reasons. You did not just save our world, Admiral. You saved our faith in justice. Hughes smiled. That's what humans do. We fight for what's right, no matter the odds. The galaxy was indeed different now. The Vorthic Empire, which had seemed unstoppable, was now just another group of bullies who had learned that someone was willing to fight back. Other species began to stand up for themselves. Worlds that had been paying tribute to various empires declared their independence. Pirates and raiders found that their victims were no longer helpless. The humans had not just won a battle. They had started a revolution. And at the center of it all was a simple idea that good people should never have to face evil alone. The legend of the human fleet had begun. Across the galaxy, stories were told of the Deathworlder species that fought not for conquest, but for justice. Stories of warriors who would cross the void of space to protect children they had never met. And in the years that followed, whenever evil threatened the innocent, there was a new hope. Someone would remember the humans at Theros Prime and say, "Help is coming. The humans are coming." The galaxy would never be the same.